What for me makes this album so brilliant is that for a band like Avenged Sevenfold, they could have very easily rested on their laurels, but instead, they pushed the boundaries further than they've ever done before. Hi guys, welcome back, and hello if you are new. So if you may not be familiar with Avenged Sevenfold, they are, I think without a doubt, one of the biggest modern metal bands out there. The band cut their teeth on the metalcore circuit, delivering Sounding the Seventh Trumpet and Waking the Fallen. After that came City of Evil, which was, as many regard, a modern day classic. What followed was their self-titled album, and sadly the final album to feature longtime drummer and founding member The Rev. Unsure whether or not to continue, they decided to carry on the Rev's legacy and enlisted Mike Portnoy of Dream Theater on their album Nightmare. And once they released Hail to the King, their first ever #1 album, that was really when the world started to take note. After that, they had the surprise drop of the stage in 2016. No real announcement, the album came out of nowhere, but at last, on March 14th, Avenged Sevenfold broke the silence and announced their brand new album, Life is But a Dream. Leave all expectations of the band at the door, because I promise you will not be prepared for what you hear. It's an album that is designed to make you feel out of place, off kilter, and really question the boundaries of what it is to be perceived as the Avenged Sevenfold sound. The themes are manifold on the record, but I think, it sort of comes down to questioning the nature of our reality, our own existence, and it's a hefty subject matter, so please stick with me, as I think I found the best way to kind of approach it. I get that from the album we're moving from this state of being alive slowly but surely into death. It's almost as though the riffs, stops, starts, genre changes really kind of represent these little moments in life that we've experienced. It starts with the question on Game Over. How did I spend my life here? Did I waste my time focusing on the mundanity of life? And then in Mattel, we have this sort of, fake idea explored. Was I kind of beguiled into focusing on all of these things that really didn't matter, that were just material? But also, did I achieve this sense of success, or more what society deems as success? It's that endless chasing of the rat race of more. Then we look into the idea of the sense of self, which is where the existentialism, I think, kicks up a gear big time. If I take away my ego, who am I? What exactly does it mean to be a person? Really, we are nobody. Like, everyone is exactly the same when you take away your ego. But also, if we have nothing that we take with us when we are left to die, what is the one constant? What is the one sort of unifying force? And that is love. But then how does this acknowledgement of existence affect me? I'm having a total existential crisis. But then you get the idea of, no, it's fine. It just makes me think of that, the dog meme with the with the glass in the burning house. Everything's fine. We'll just, ignore all of this. Then we move into the triptych, which is the final sort of denouement of the record, which I think is probably the most meta and theatrical of the album. M. Shadows takes on the role of a god. And this god kind of created humanity, and as he realizes, the more the song goes on, he's kind of like, well, they totally missed the point of everything. Guess I'll just delete them. And then he turns to his robot and says, what do you think, robot? And this is where the robot is questioning its state of consciousness, the idea of being, I want to feel what you feel, and that sort of sentient idea. Finally, we move into death, which is the acceptance of our life, of our experience, regardless of its outcome. Then we move into Life is But a Dream, the final track, which is a curtain call and almost the end credits to life. The idea of the concept is also represented throughout every facet of the record, particularly in the sound, and that's why you've got so many subgenres: gospel, funk, metal, prog, punk, industrial, pop, dance, electronica, literally anything you could think of, swing. And it has to be said that given such a huge array of different styles, the performance of every single person on this record is absolutely exceptional. And with that in mind, the album opens with Game Over, which starts with this beautiful Godfather-esque nylon guitar as a nice introduction. But then Mattel that follows afterwards brings that sort of almost Stepford Wives sickly sweet feeling to represent that idea of plasticity and, you know, being fake. And after that, we're thrown into the deconstructed nature of Nobody. But then you've got the industrial idea on We Love You, as, you know, we get to that build tall, build higher, build far, build wider, that sort of thing. And then you just hear like more, 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 and it emphasizes that need for more.
Self, more time, build tall, build higher, build far, build.
But equally, you've got that sense of, you know, real love on Cosmic. Like, Cosmic is one of the best tracks on this album by far. Also sounds a little bit like Elton John before exploding into this amazing guitar solo from Sinister Gates. And that's always been a huge draw for me, you know, is Avenged Sevenfold's lead work. And that level of lead playing is still on here, it's just different. The end of Nobody's kind of sweeping guitar solo for like almost 2 minutes, or you've got those jazz fusion styles on We Love You. You know, it's so interesting, and Cosmic especially is really kind of like the showstopper for me. Nobody's main riff sounds like a chainsaw, and then you've got this sort of whack, which kind of comes in for Mattel's main riff, which is, you know, it's a bit more kind of classic Avenged Sevenfold. M. Shadows' voice gets put into a megaphone on Easier, and I especially love the shepherd tone, which kind of appears at different points in the album to really sort of like build that sense of tension and anxiety, but also changes things really, really nicely. And I haven't even talked about G.O.D. yet. You know, G is like a 1973 prog rock song and starts with sort of like Emerson Lake Palmer, but then auto-tune is explored to represent that idea of the robot on Ordinary, you know, with that sort of Daft Punk feel. And then D, I think, is one of the most genius bits because it reminded me of Frank Sinatra, and this song is dealing with the idea of death, with passing on to the other side. And what do a lot of people have at their funerals? My Way by Frank Sinatra. You know, it's that kind of like, and also because it's the penultimate song, it creates that sense of a climactic ending, which I think was really, really cool. But the interesting thing is, the track Life Is But a Dream is a single solo piano song, and it's the only time on the record where everything stops. It's a wonderful moment of clarity, and I think something that's so important to really understand the idea of this record, which is when it all stops, that's it. Because we're at the end. We've come to whatever death is, you know, the void, so to speak. It's a beautiful end credits to life, basically. It's also apparently one of the hardest things that Sinister Gates has ever recorded, because he, you know, recorded all of this just himself. It's a wonderfully expressive album where the lyrics are concerned, and it's also scathingly self-aware as well. And there's a knowing kind of dramatic irony which is kind of peppered throughout the record. Mattel has this section where M. Shadows says, and I've smelt the plastic daisies. And they also take quotes from directly from The Truman Show, which is, if you've not seen it, a film about a man who doesn't know he's living in a reality series. You know, everything around him is fake, but he thinks all of it is true.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
But even the production on this album is an extension of its themes as well. There are moments where things are compressed or moved or panned or things like that, and you can hear these really subtle ideas, and that's exactly what it's designed to do. I would probably say the only negative really is that fans might find this very hard to digest, but it's just one of those albums where you just kind of have to go with it. But the weirdest thing is, right, that this sound of Avenged Sevenfold, I think, has always been there. You know, the self-titled album is a great example. Think of the bombast of A Little Piece of Heaven, right? Then you've got Dear God, which ends with that sort of country-style guitar, also in We Love You. Then you've got Lost, which is M. Shadows playing with auto-tune, which is on Cosmic, and Ordinary. Not to mention Unbound, the wild ride, you know, it has that beautiful ivory tinkling, you know, it's like one of my favourite parts of that song is the way the piano works. What for me makes this album so brilliant is that for a band like Avenged Sevenfold, they could have very easily rested on their laurels, but instead, they pushed the boundaries further than they've ever done before. In wanting to represent the eclecticism of life and the eternal questioning of the nature of reality and existentialism, Avenged Sevenfold have completely torn up the rulebook here. And in breaking down the idea of what the sound is distilled as, have created one of the most forward-thinking and avant-garde pieces of music I've heard in quite a long time. Turn everything off, immerse yourself to experience the truly exceptional journey that is Life Is But a Dream. So for that reason, I'm going to give this album a 9.5 out of 10. It's absolutely brilliant. So I hope you guys enjoyed this album review. Let me know what you think in the comments section underneath me. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are, and I cannot wait for everyone to hear Life Is But a Dream. If you could hit that like and subscribe button, that would be amazing. Make sure to share with all your friends if you do enjoy this content, and I will see you guys very, very soon for another album review.